These are aesthetics. There's many different types of them, even some that I have talked about, including Fruitiger Arrow that I have talked about on this channel before. You can go watch that video. And most of the cores that I talk about, I will probably go like even more in depth than I already have in like another video essay. But there's this term that I either made up or somebody else, I'm not sure. I call it core aesthetics. It's simple. Core kind of works as a suffix and you just add it to the end of something. But there's like many different types of them. I will be talking about all the ones that I know and like what I can find from the wiki, which I'll be getting most of my stuff from the aesthetics wiki, and a few that I personally know. So we can go ahead and get to the video, like and subscribe. We're starting off with a more quote-unquote mainstream aesthetic core. Dreamcore is an aesthetic that like primarily ties up with, well, dreams. There's more to it. It can also be associated with nightmares or daydreams, many other types of dreams. Now, Weirdcore, I'm not going to talk about it just yet, probably next, but they do kind of look similar. The only thing different is that they're kind of quite the opposite. Weirdcore gives off, well, discomfort and like, what is this? It leaves you awestruck, in a bad way, of course. Dreamcore, well, simply does the opposite. Some of the weird stuff that goes on in Dreamcore is kind of peculiar. It's not as weird as Weirdcore as the name suggests, but yeah. Like, this can't happen in real life. Dreamcore usually depicts of clouds and like bluish, greenish, whitish colors mostly. This is by far the most common and the most popular, but we will go like more odd as we go on, to say the least. This is pretty much all I have to say about the Dreamcore aesthetic, that it's just like bright and colorful with all these like dreamlike surrealism, and you get the gist. Like, even the background game that I'm currently playing is Dreamcore with all the like, you know, houses and like weird dreamlike visuals. Nonetheless, we can move on to the next one. As I aforementioned, it's basically the opposite of Dreamcore. But Weirdcore does have a key feature. Terrible quality! The picture I had just shown is not the best example of terrible quality Weirdcore, but compared to the ones I'll show you, that kind of looks 8K. Now, I am holding back demons to kind of do a polygon donut style, like what he does whenever he talks about like Weirdcore, Dreamcore stuff. Stupid idiot, 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 stupid idiot. Do you see me? I can feel your eyes. I must escape this simulation. Don't you dare dream of a better world. Oh, okay, yeah, I think that's good enough. He does it way better than me. Weirdcore is often in first person and it leaves you in suspense. Well, that's what I feel, because everybody views it differently. Someone could be romantically attracted to this image right now and we would not know. And most Weirdcore things also have like captions in the back, only adding up and building up to the suspense. Like, who could it be? Could it be a god talking to you? A narrator like the Stanley Parable? Could it be your own mind? My theory is that it's the third one. You could be theoretically in these like Weirdcore spaces for a long time, slowly losing sanity, and this is your mind trying to communicate with you. Well, nothing's for sure. You can put your theories down in the comments along with any other stuff you have. Weirdcore overall, just like, man, primarily consists of terrible quality and just weird, like, questionable things. Just, you know, all that. We can go ahead and go get to the next one. I don't know what sound to put here, to be honest. Now, this is Traumacore, and this needs a video of its own. I might do that someday, because this is insane. Like, we're talking 1,000-yard stare insane. Now, if you are not into, like, sensitive topics, like PTSD, etc., that I can't name, you can go ahead and, you know, skip to this timestamp right here, but I will also be using generic terms like unalived and, like, sort of riddle-like stuff, so I don't get, you know, my channel deleted, because YouTube's money hungry, and I want to keep my channel up for as long as I want. Now, Traumacore tackles sensitive topics like Daddy by Korn, that fifth song out of South of Heaven by Slayer, mental health issues, etc. Oh, and I almost forgot the significant, like the most important one, child innocence. Now, most people who were Daddy by Korn as a kid, you know, like see these images as like a coping mechanism. Like it helps them through these times usually. Like I have never personally been Daddy by Korn as a kid that I know of at least, but I know how hard it can be for some people to like get past those traumas. Okay, yeah, we can stop talking about that now. Now, a lot of these pictures have like a pinkish texture to them. It's kind of feminine, to be honest. This one's just so different from all the like other ones that we talked about. When I mean all, I mean like two other ones, but like unlike Dreamcore or Weirdcore, it's not real. Like it's dreams. Like you can only see it in your dreams. Traumacore has happened to some people, and probably even people watching this video. And if you are that person, you can share your stories and your thoughts on Traumacore, because it may be subjective to some people. Now, I'm not going to go as in-depth in this video, because I don't want it to be like, you know, a really long video essay on just like one aesthetic, and I just want like, you know, all of it together. I will probably talk about Traumacore separately in another video, so we can go ahead and move on.
Only time for what you need. Liberty, 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 liberty.
Now, there's this little trend that has been going around that just talks about how we see the world now versus as a kid. This is basically how I like to describe the aesthetic. It's known for its bright colors and like childish, like, you know, themes and stuff. It's essentially just Traumacore without the trauma. It kind of reminds you of a childhood and like a better place of innocence. People often come to these aesthetics whenever they're feeling down and they want to find a place to escape. At least I think so, I'm not sure. I don't really have as much to say about this aesthetic because I just now found out about it along with some of other of these, but I'll try my best to explain some more of them so we can go ahead and move on to them. Now, Nostalgiacore can come in a lot of different ways, such as places or objects, you know, all that. I'm going to be honest, back in gym class, I used to run over people with these. Or it can come in the form of an old broadcasting channel. This, in my opinion, is by far probably one of the most relatable, you know, core aesthetics because, well, we all have nostalgia at some point in our life. It's completely natural. Another example that some people have is those little balloon things that used to go under back in gym class. I'm going to be honest, I tried it twice. It was terrible back then. Yeah, I remember one of those days where I did one forcefully. I got a heat stroke outside because we did it at like 103-degree temperature. It sucked. And I apparently found out that this is technically a rename of Kidcore, so I basically just talked about two in one section, so you are welcome. Most people like to share their nostalgia through social media, especially the millennials and like early Gen Zs. Both Kidcore and Nostalgiacore are pretty cool aesthetics, but the only thing is there's basically no difference in between them, and I was basically just, I'm so gullible, I'm so sorry. We can go ahead and move on to another one that does have some nostalgia, but it's not, you know, like a copy of Kidcore technically. We have reached peak aesthetics right here. This one is, well, the most relatable to me because I am an older brother. Olderbrothercore is, as the name suggests, what your older brother used to do back in the 90s and 2000s. It's like your older brother during his edgy teen phase. You know what I'm talking about. It consists of junk food, graffiti, etc. I wonder how many times I have said etc. in this video. Can y'all please count it for me? This is an amazing aesthetic, and I could go on, and I think even some of y'all might relate to having an edgy older brother like this, who is now probably 35, happily married, has 3 children, and probably lives in a small cottage outside of Texas. But this Olderbrothercore is a stereotypical aesthetic. Oh no, not the hot topic. There's many other pictures and examples of Olderbrothercore. I even have the collection of deodorant. Here, let me just show you real quick. See? This aesthetic mostly started off, well, where most of these start off at the early 2020s, with people often describing their experiences with an older brother back in the 2000s. You either had a good time with your older brother, as he probably supported you, or he probably tormented you, let's be honest. There's no in between. And don't worry, your older brother's, past self isn't listening in. You can speak out loud. It's not like he's gonna come out and, I don't know, beat you in Tony Hawk Underground 2. Even the background game I'm playing right now, that's probably the bed he slept on without all the band posters and, propaganda going on in the room. This is either an amazing nostalgia aesthetic, or it probably gives you PTSD. Before we end off this segment, I just want to say, this aesthetic kind of reminds me of MLG, Major League Gaming. I mean, with the gaming and all of the, hyper stuff going on, and especially the Mountain Dew, they both are strikingly similar. So we can go ahead and go to the next one, I guess. Now, I am personally not that big into this aesthetic, so I'm just going to use creepy old clown photos for this. Now, both are technically the same, both Clowncore, Kidcore, and Nostalgiacore. They're all technically the same, but instead of just kids, clowns. It also has bright colors and all of that. It also gives you nostalgia, because some of y'all had clowns at y'all's birthday party. I don't know why. I don't really have that much to say, nor do I want to say anything else, because I don't want to talk more about these three aesthetics or anything even remotely similar to it, because I barely know anything about them. I just found these out 2 days ago. Finally, something that isn't related to Nostalgiacore, Kidcore, or Clowncore. That was a mouthful to say, jeez. Naturecore, along with all these other aesthetics, is by what the name suggests. A lot of trees and a lot of natural life. It just looks so fresh and natural. It can also be associated with fantasy stuff. This does sort of kind of remind me of Dreamcore, I'm going to be honest. So I grew up in the more rural and country areas, so yeah, I can relate to a lot of these because I was basically here my entire life. There's many other sub-aesthetics, if that's a real word, of Naturecore, which I will probably not talk about in this video because it'll take me so long. I'll probably try to get this video at 15 minutes. I don't know if I'll succeed because I'm only probably 12 minutes in or so. But yeah, just be on the lookout for that video. It might come pretty soon, who knows. Now, Webcore is pretty simple to, describe, because it is the internet from the 90s whenever it was just now starting off. This is literally the first photo I saw whenever I was looking at the wiki. This does look like a polygon donut thumbnail, let's be honest. It is a pretty simple, aesthetic nonetheless, but it is very nostalgic to a lot of people, because that's whenever they grew up, the internet era, whenever it came out in the 90s. Or, no, it came out way before that, but it, really got popular back in the 90s. Simple, but effective, they say. I'm sorry that the, more aesthetics we go into, the shorter the sections get. I don't know. There's just, not that much I can really talk about that's to my knowledge of these, because I just now learned about them, not even an hour ago, I mean. But this is probably going to be the end of the video for now. I might make a part 2, okay? There was a lot of weird ones that I found, Vacation Dadcore. What? What even is that supposed to... I don't even know. I'll talk about them in possibly a part 2, just the less, the weirder ones that I can find, because there's a lot more, but they won't be as longer sections as the Dreamcore and Weirdcore, all that I just talked about. So yeah, just be prepared for that. This is probably the last video that I'm going to make in a while, because it's going to take me a little bit longer to edit. I think you already know why. 9 months of psychological torture, as I like to call it. But anyways, I would like to say like and subscribe for more videos and just video essays. And I usually do games. I usually do them game, video, video, in that sort of order, if you are new to the channel. And if you like this video, I have more sort of like this, so you can go ahead and subscribe if you'd like. All right.